Guess what, friends? We have big, fun news. You know, Crank and Boom has been a Lexington favorite for over a decade now. Well, now Crank and Boom has been enshrined on a Monopoly board. Yes, I'm talking about the real life Monopoly board game you played as a kid with Community Chess, Park Place, and Kentucky Avenue. They have just come out with the Lexington edition of Monopoly, and Crank and Boom is on the board. So you can go buy Crank and Boom as a property on the latest Monopoly board featuring all sorts of Lexington attractions. Grab your own board game at crankandboom.com before supplies run out. Crankandboom.com. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Crank and Boom podcast. I am your host, Tao Green. I opened a Thai restaurant with my family 17 years ago that has since morphed into a multi-million-dollar ice cream business. I have the honor of leading 40-plus teammates to fulfill our company's mission: create joy, ignite laughter, and inspire compassion. And now I get to share my experiences of building this incredible business with you. On the show, we chat all things small business, family, and life, and how we can do it all with a bit more purpose and in community. I am so glad that you're here. This is the Crank and Boom podcast. At some point in our lives, we've all had a showdown with perfectionism. I have lived, breathed, and battled perfectionism almost my entire life. Hello, child of Asian immigrant parents. And I'm happy to say that within the last few years, I've been able to build a much healthier relationship with it that allows me to live a bit more freely today. I happen to have the most amazing guest to help navigate this topic today, the person, I would say, who is responsible for helping me start on my perfectionism recovery journey when I had our first baby, Bodhi. It is my esteemed honor to have one of my most favorite people in the world on the show today, the one and only entrepreneur and design guru, Emily Lay. She is the founder and owner of the brand phenomenon Simplified, and she leads a community of women who believe in supporting each other through the messiness of life. She's also a best-selling author, host of the Simplified podcast, and a mom to 3 amazing kids. She has also literally wrote a book on the very topic that we're talking about today called Grace, Not Perfection, which details how she tamed the perfectionist side of herself toward a more grace-filled life. I can't wait for you to hear our conversation together. Here is my chat with Emily Lay. So friends, we have the most exciting guest today on today's show. This is a bucket list moment for me, and I am so thrilled to welcome Emily Lay to the Crank and Boom podcast. Hello!
You are so sweet. That was way too generously kind.
Oh, no, you don't even know.
You're totally a celebrity in my house. Like my son.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure we'll get into how we know each other, but my son Brady is 12, and I'm sure he will be listening to this. But he is always like, Mom, did you see what Miss Tao posted? Mom, did you see the new flavors at Crank and Boom? Mom.
Oh my gosh.
He follows all of you, like not even just you, he follows everybody and knows all the things that are going on. And we think you're amazing. He tells everybody the story of how Crank and Boom was born. You have been a very positive influence in his life. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, that makes me so happy. And I love that we are inspiring the next round of entrepreneurs that are going to change and take over the world. And maybe we need a location in Pensacola and he can be our star ambassador. So
I am here for that. And so is he.
That's a conversation for another day for sure. But I'm so excited that you're here for so many reasons. You have been such an amazing influence on my life. Today, we're talking about basically what you are the expert of. You're the expert of many things, but you literally wrote a book called Grace, Not Perfection. And today we're talking about perfection and what it means in the world of entrepreneurship and just in the world of life and our relationship to it and how we as business owners can navigate all the many intricacies of it. But before we get into that, I would love for you to just tell everybody who you are and what you do.
I'm Emily Lay. I am a wife to Brian for 15 years. We have 3 children, Brady, Tyler, and Caroline. Brady's 12, and our twins are 8 years old. We live in Pensacola, Florida, and I'm the founder of a company called Simplified, and we make planners and organizational tools for busy women doing all the things, kind of like us. I'm also an author, written 10, going on 11 books,
Amazing.
and a podcaster, and I don't sleep at night. I don't sleep. Today is such a funny day to be talking about this because like I do the things that I do and I'm interested in the things I'm interested in because it's my life too. Like I am trying to keep it all together, keep the wheels on the bus moving. And it's so hard. And the world we live in makes it even harder. And so even when we got on here today, we got on here and I was like, okay, guys, this thing just happened. My kid's hurt with his hip and we have to go to PT, and I have another one who has strep throat and has to go to the doctor. And then my daughter's going home with a friend this afternoon and she doesn't even know it yet. I'm going to tell her.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's just so much that calls on the hearts of women because we love so many things so deeply. And it's so hard not to fall into the trap of trying to be perfectly good at all of it. Because we want to do a good job, but sometimes we have to learn that like doing the thing is good enough. And that sometimes like perfectionism gets in the way of doing the good thing, doing the right thing, you know?
Absolutely. And I think so it's interesting because you own a planner company, which requires a certain level of perfection, right? Because October can't go before September. It doesn't do well for your business. And for us, we're in the food industry. And so food safety is our number one priority. And so being
Yeah.
not perfect in that realm is not good for anybody. And so how do you balance the journey and the process of, okay, so this has to be a certain level of perfect for us to be able to sell our product in order for us to show up the way we need to for our customers. And then also give grace to ourselves in that process.
That's such a good question. I don't know that I navigate it quite right, but here, I'll tell you what works for me. This has evolved over the years. I wrote Grace Not Perfection in 2015 when I had newborn twins and I had a 4-year-old and I had a business that was just starting to like really take off. And back then, perfectionism meant a really long to-do list and staying up very late to do everything perfectly. It also meant being really hard on myself, if we're being honest. And over the years, I've kind of learned to gut check myself. Like when I get really stretched thin, that's when my perfectionism gets the worst. I don't know why that is. But like days when I have a whole lot of things going on and I want to do a really good job at all of them, I have to pause and ask myself, like, are you taking care of yourself? Are you drinking water? Are you eating lunch? Or are you skipping meals? Like, I've been known to do that because I just get so busy, I forget. And so it's like a level of self-awareness that I feel like I've developed over time, but just constantly reminding myself, like, hey, being perfect at this is not the goal. It's like getting the kids where they need to go, making sure everyone stays alive and safe. And like at the end of the day, I'm not even sure how many kids are spending the night at my house tonight. I think there's 7. And like I told Brian, I was like, order something for dinner. If you could just be in charge of ordering something for dinner, that would be great. And I'll just get them all here. And so like
Yes.
the perfect slumber party would be amazing. But what's really going to happen is we're going to order pizza and everyone's going to stuff their faces and run outside to go swim in the pool. And that's good.
And that's amazing. Yes. And that's all people need. And I'm kind of curious, where do you feel like your perfectionism came from? Is it something you feel like you were born with, or was it how you grew up?
I think it's a couple things. I was raised by parents who have been married like almost 40 years. A lot. No, 50. A lot. I don't know. 100. They've been married 100 years. And they're like the quintessential mom and dad. Like my dad was very involved and worked outside the house. My mom was very involved and worked outside the house. They love each other. They love us. I was so privileged and lucky to grow up that way. And because of that, I really want to do a good job. I was fortunate to have that and I want to do that. What I didn't see were the nights my mom went to bed really early because she was exhausted because she was teaching all day and then coming home to deal with 2 kids. And what I didn't see was the moment she was really burned out or my dad was really burned out. So there's a level of like, well, they did it, so why can't I? And then I think it's in my nature to be an over-functioning person who has big dreams and big ideas and is guaranteed to outwork anybody. It's a little bit of that. But I really think, and this is where the grace part comes in, like over the years, I've realized that perfectionism, it just comes from loving a lot of things a lot and like wanting to do a good job. And so I don't beat myself up. I mean, Tal, I'm not kidding you when I say I am the team mom this year. I'm the room mom times 2 this year. I'm serving on a national board for childhood cancer research. I'm doing all the things I do at work. And I signed up for all those things because I love them. Like I love doing all of that. But then I have a day where I'm like, I cannot do one more thing. So all that to say, it comes from loving things a lot. And that requires me to constantly teach myself that just because something is good doesn't mean it has to be a yes in this season, you know?
Yes. And there's so many good things. I've learned so many things from you over the years from following you and just following your journey. And I appreciate you using your platform to say, you know what? I'm not perfect. I don't have all my hairs in the right place all the time. And I have no makeup. And today I'm going in 50 different directions. And it's real. And that's so nice to be able to see a quote unquote influencer who is using their platform in a way that normalizes all this madness. I actually want to thank you because when I read A Simplified Life 5 years ago, I had literally just had our first baby. We spent 7 years going through fertility issues and our own fertility journey. I had gotten very, very sick. I had a very tough pregnancy and a very tough birth and a very tough recovery. And someone I followed said, here's this book. It's called A Simplified Life. And I'm not a big reader. I'll admit I'm not a huge reader, but I picked up your book and I read it. And even within the first few chapters, it was almost like someone lifted a huge weight off my shoulders. It was like the universe said, guess what? You can breathe and you don't actually have to do it all. Because that was the standard I was holding myself to at that point. We had a restaurant, we had this budding ice cream business, we had all these things. And then, of course, your body is in weird shape after being in crazy health and just having a baby and dealing with new family dynamics. And so to just have somebody that I didn't know at the time say, you know what, girlfriend, you don't actually have to do it all and you don't have to save the world.
Thank you for saying that.
Oh my gosh. And I was just relieved. It's like I breathed for the first time in so many years. I think having kids forces you to do that. Did you feel that way? Is like you tried to control things and then the universe was like, no way.
I saw a meme the other day on Instagram and I think about it all the time now. There was like a Q&A or something. At the top of it, it said, when will I be able to have a home that is spotless and beautiful and wonderful and never messy? And then at the bottom, it was like, no, you will never have that. Start over, get a new dream. Like,
Yeah, new dreams. We need new expectations. Do you feel like there is a good sort of perfection and then like a bad sort of perfection? Is there a balance or is there a way to do it in a way that isn't unhealthy?
for me, it's a double-edged sword. Like having this perfectionism, it pushes me to always want to be better and always want to be more real and like better quality with our products and like always raising the bar. And that's great. It really is. It's really good. It means I work really hard. But then comes a time when it's like the kids will be in the kitchen, like making something to drink, and they'll be putting the milk away in the refrigerator, and I'm cleaning up the cup they just poured. And they're like, Mom, I just poured, so it's my biggest strength, but it's also like my biggest weakness. It gets in my own way sometimes. I don't think there's like two different types. I think it's the same type. And we just have to learn when to utilize it to our advantage and also when to like tamper it down because it's too much right then,
One of the lessons I've learned as an entrepreneur is celebrating. Taking time to intentionally honor your achievements and share them with others is a big part of what makes the whole journey worth it. And one of my favorite ways to do it is with food, of course. Goldbelly is our partner in how we deliver our ice cream to customers all over the US so they can make their special moments even more special wherever they are. And whatever milestone you're celebrating with your friends and family, Goldbelly has just the thing. Whether you need Guy Fieri's trash can dessert nachos for Dad's birthday or Martha Stewart's famous banana pudding for your sister's baby shower, Goldbelly can ship it right to your door and make your event even more special. So if you haven't taken advantage of Goldbelly's amazing offerings, now's the time. Run over to their website at goldbelly.com and make your celebration unforgettable. If you've been here for a while, you know that I incorporate community in everything I do. It fuels every decision I make about my life and my company. Our beloved sponsors, Holly Hill & Co., also share the same love for community. In fact, their love of community is why they work so hard to highlight local produce in all 9 of their Central Kentucky restaurants, like Zim's in downtown Lexington, Honeywood at the Summit, and the historic Holly Hill Inn in Midway. So you can experience what it means to connect the farmer and the food to your family's table. And now they've expanded their offerings to the community by opening a new cooking studio and retail store. You can take cooking classes with the very famous James Beard nominated chef Weta Michael herself and learn about how to make the most out of your farmer's market haul or how to craft the perfect bourbon menu. And while you're there, shop the handcrafted goods and thoughtfully curated gift sets for your friends and family. Learn more about their new cooking studio and retail store in downtown Versailles, Kentucky by visiting hollyhillandco.com. Again, that's hollyhillandco.com, and let them know Tal from the Crank and Boom podcast sent you. You lead a team of, I think, 9 women now. Is it 9? Team of 9?
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with when, and you're all remote, so that makes it, an extra layer of figuring out how you relate to each other. But how do you deal with when mistakes happen on your team? When you are a planner company and having mistakes can be very detrimental and very expensive.
I don't have to do anything. I don't know how, but every time I've hired someone, I've gotten so lucky. I always say I hire for character first and skill set second, because a lot of things, and this isn't true in every position, but most things can be taught, right? Character and integrity and work ethic and like that type of thing, I can't teach you that. And so anytime anybody has made a mistake, like, and they don't make a lot of mistakes. They're so good. But like when stuff does happen. When stuff happens, I don't even say anything. We're all such like on this level playing field where it's like I've given everyone titles of like director of things because it's what we all are. We all own our own little piece of the puzzle, and we all try to do great at that for the better good of the whole thing. I make mistakes all the time. Like if you ever read my Instagram stories, I misspell stuff. I post things before I read them. I just get so busy. Anyway, so like mistakes happen. I don't know. We just roll with it.
Well, when I first became a manager, when we had our restaurant, most of the models that I would see on TV of what it meant to be a leader was some crazy person who was a tyrant who yelled at people. And so I had a phase in the beginning of my leadership time that I would yell, and it was very weird. And I did not like it. And I didn't like how it made me feel. It didn't make things better. And I found that when I started to unpeel who I was as a person and was able to say, okay, I'm not really a yelling type. So I found that now with our team, most people just don't want to disappoint me. And I feel like that has been the biggest motivator and it's not because I yell or that I even say anything. Like you said, it's they're holding standards even higher than what I would hold them to. And that is the amazing part, is being able to find people like that. So I'm so glad that you have taken the time to chat with us today. And what is going on in the world of Simplified, and where can we find you, and where can people learn more about all the amazing things that you all do?
Oh my gosh. Well, you're amazing. I wish I had like 3 hours we could sit and talk because I feel like we have so many stories we could share. And I just like love learning from you too. Simplified, like, gosh, what is going on with Simplified? So much is going on with Simplified. Our fall launch is soon, and that's all of our 2024 products that we've been working on for seems like years. We're getting ready for 3 big releases next year.
I saw that this morning. I basically like dropped my oatmeal spoon. Was like, what?
I know. Okay, here's a little tidbit that we have not shared publicly yet.
Ooh,
So,
secrets.
yes, so the 3rd release is going to be right around the start of the year. We haven't like picked the date yet, but it's in that time of the year where you're like, okay, it's a new season. Let's get this stuff together. Let's get organized. I don't know about you, but that time of year, I'm like, let's clean the house, let's declutter, let's get the schedule in order. And so there are a slew of new products coming out around that time.
That's perfect. And where can people find you on social and all the things?
So our website is emilylay.com, and then you can find us on all the things at Simplified and at Emily Lay. And then I'm writing over at Substack now, which is fun. I know you are too.
I love that.
I have tips. Like, I have been learning like crazy over the past 5 months. It's a really fun platform.
Yes. And now we're on Substack and I love it. So I just am like, oh, well, if Emily has vetted it, like I'm going to do that too. So if it feels a little like,
I'll send you my pointers.
yes, if I'm creeping, then yes, I am creeping and
You're
just
so
learning all the things because I think you're amazing. And I wish,
Aw.
I wish we could also talk all day long, but
I know.
maybe we will someday when everything settles down.
I have 2 more kids who are like, all right, mom, when do we get to go to see the ice cream factory?
Yes, road trip to Lexington. We will host you and we will roll out the purple carpet for the other Lay children.
I love it. You're wonderful.
And then we can discuss the Pensacola location.
For sure. We'll make plans.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. You are a treasure, and I'm so honored to get to talk to you today. And thank you so much. Have a great one.
Thank you. Me too.
Thank you so much for listening to the Crank and Boom podcast. If you want business advice and tactics like this every week, click that follow button wherever you listen to your podcast so you never miss an episode with us. Also, if you like what you heard today, it would mean so very much to me if you would leave us a review that helps other people find us. Leave a note on what topics you want me to cover more of because we would love to hear from you. I can't wait to meet you here again very soon. Until next time, peace.
This is a production of Four Eyes Media.